Good morning. Watchtower has published the November study edition of the Watchtower, and there are a couple of interesting things in there. First of all, some have pointed to the article on how to cope with old age as evidence that Watchtower is putting off Armageddon. So we'll have a quick look at that for a moment. From the Watchtower, November 2025, the article on how to cope with old age, paragraph 7. It starts off, perhaps you are saddened by the possibility that the end of this system will not come in your lifetime. Now, some feel that this means Watchtower is putting off Armageddon. I'm not so sure. It could do. You see, when you get to my age, you could die at any minute. If I died tonight, I believe that I would miss the end of the world. Anyway, this is not the most important thing. However, it's questions from readers, the article, that I would like to look at this morning, because there's a surprising bit of new light in this. But see what you think. I'll give you the background to it first, because it comes from Revelation and can be a bit complicated. First of all, Revelation chapter 13. And here we have three characters really. We have a beast which has 7 heads and 10 horns, and it represents the kings of the earth. And then in verse 11, we have another beast that had 2 horns like a lamb, but spoke like a dragon. And this smaller beast makes an image of the first beast, the one which represented the kings, and gave it life. Now, Watchtower interprets this as United Nations, which could be okay. But if we go now to chapter 17, we have here Babylon the great prostitute, sitting beside waters, and we can understand that because verse 15 says, "The waters that you saw where the prostitute is seated are peoples, multitudes, nations and languages." And we know that people do support religions of any sort, false or whatever. They support it by attending the meetings and by giving it money. But this prostitute is also riding another wild beast. And we know that the governments do support religions. They give them grants, and sometimes religions have great influence on certain governments. But here we are, Revelation 17, and we notice verse 8. "The beast that you saw was and is not, and is about to rise from the bottomless pit." And if we go, just over the page, to verse 11. "As for the beast that was and is not, it's an 8th beast, but it belongs or it springs from the 7, and it goes off into destruction." Right, now the 10 horns that you saw on the beast with 7 heads are 10 kings. They have not yet received royal power, but they are to receive authority as kings for 1 hour together with the beast. So we've got all sorts of political ideas here. But, verse 13, "These kings are of one mind, and they hand over their power and authority to the beast." That's the image of the beast, which Watchtower says is the United Nations. It's getting complicated, sorry. Verse 16, "And the 10 horns that you saw, they and the beast will hate the prostitute." So it seems that governments are going to turn on religion and completely get rid of it. Why? Verse 17 says, "For God has put it into their hearts to carry out his purpose by being of one mind and handing over their royal power to the beast until the words of God are fulfilled." So what we might do now is have a quick look at Watchtower's new interpretation of what this one thought is. So with regard to the nations giving their power and authority to the wild beast or to the United Nations, Watchtower is saying that they haven't yet done that. It's going to be something sudden that take us by surprise. So the bottom paragraph there says, we need not look for news reports that governments are slowly becoming more supportive of the United Nations. What we can expect is this: with startling suddenness, Jehovah will put it into the hearts of the nations to hand over their power to the wild beast. When that happens, we will know that the Great Tribulation is about to begin. Meanwhile, let us stay awake and keep our senses, because sudden changes are soon to come. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses are obliged to accept this explanation. We can accept it if we want to, or not as we want to. But what I would like you to do is read through Revelation chapters 13 and 17 and see what you think. And Watchtower might have got it right. I don't know. I'm wondering if the kings have already given their power to the United Nations. But we'll find out. Prophecy is quite fluid, and we can find out when it comes true. Now, one thing I don't agree with them on is that the turning on religion will bring about the Great Tribulation. As you know, I believe the Great Tribulation has already started. I'm probably wrong, and I know many of you do not agree with me on this, and that's fine. But I've lived through times of peace, and this is not a time of peace. It's a time of worry, of people losing their homes to fires, losing their crops and livelihoods to droughts or floods, fires everywhere, air pollution, killing people. And I've put a link below to another video which emphasises this. There's also a link to Watchtower's article on the one thought. So see, one thing we know for certain, Revelation 11 and verse 18, that God is going to destroy the destroyers of the earth. So, by all means, please put your thoughts in the comment, and as to whether you agree with Watchtower or not. God bless you all. Take care.